Well, hello, rogues. It's been a minute. Welcome back to the show. Today, our title is From Care to Capital, How a Registered Nurse Builds Businesses, Contracts, and Ownership. So once again, welcome back to the show. Today's conversation is for professionals who know they're capable of more, but haven't always been shown how to access it. My guest today represents a new kind of operator. She's a registered nurse, she's an entrepreneur, she's a government contractor, as well as a realtor. But more than titles, she's someone actively building alignment between service, strategy, and ownership. Kessia Leonhard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Rogue Asset Podcast. We're more than happy to have you here today. So, listen, Kessia, I want to start in the present, right? I mean, you're doing so many things. When someone meets you today, not your resume, not your LinkedIn, how do you introduce yourself?
Really, I still introduce myself. I'm Kessia Leonhard, RN, businesswoman as well. I have a lot of different aspects of different capabilities and things that I do. And usually when I do say, businesswoman, there's always more to be asked.
And what do they normally ask you?
They usually ask, what is it that I do besides nursing? Because, a lot of times, I think a lot of times the public and people just think when you're an RN, that's just what you do. You only work in the hospital, but there's just so many different avenues. So usually people ask, what is it that I do and what other aspects, what other opportunities, do I work?
Okay. I love that. I love what you said there. So walk us through what your life actually looks like right now with all that activity. What does your life look like?
Well, it's busy. The good thing I can say is as far as working in the hospital, I work overnight, right? And so that gives me that opportunity to, during the day, once I get, a little bit of some sleep, if at all, I can work during the day doing the other things that I need to do, especially to run a business, like the government contracting, like the real estate. Sometimes you have to show properties. Sometimes you have to be making calls. You have to be on the phone. And that requires, pretty much the normal hardworking person works usually Monday through Friday. They work during the day. And so that enables me to be able to communicate and do that business during the day. It's not easy, but I make it work.
Okay. It sounds like a lot to me.
Yes.
All right. So we've kind of talked about, I guess that kind of gives us a glimpse of what your life looks like. So what does a real week in your life look like, balancing nursing, business, government contracting, and real estate?
Oh my goodness, and
I've said a mouthful.
It changes throughout, Once again, I work overnight, usually a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. I don't usually get out at 7 a.m. Let's be honest. As nurses, and we all know, sometimes that's me getting home at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And then from there, I may have to take calls. I may have to, I might have gotten calls before I went to work that I couldn't answer. So I may be returning calls. and then sending emails out, scheduling calls for maybe when I wake up. I may not even go to sleep right away. Or if I do, it may be a nap so I can get up. If I have to go and show up properties, I usually schedule that between maybe noon or 11 a.m. and I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 because once again, I work at 7 p.m. So I usually leave my house around 6 p.m. So I usually try and schedule anything between that, 11 a.m. to 5:30, 5 o'clock. And that can be anything from, if I'm doing government contracting, that's making calls to businesses, that's responding to contracts, asking contracting officers questions, real estate showing properties, submitting contracts to go under contract on those properties or with sellers as well. It's a lot. It's a lot of different things.
Yeah, that sounds like you definitely have your hands full.
Yes.
So, with all of that being said, what problem are you most focused on solving right now? Not just professionally, but personally as well.
Personally as well. Something like solving wise. Well, first of all, time management is very crucial. And I think that goes for both professional and personal, because you really have to know, what does each entail? You also got to make sure that you're having time for yourself a little bit too, whether that's meditating, whatever. So the time management aspect of it, like I said, I have like a certain window of time, and I just have to be very, very careful not to go, too much over time. Let's see, on the government contracting side, on the real estate side, making sure I still have a little bit of sleep or time to prepare food and stuff for my day. So really getting that down packed is very, very important. And that goes for just having a business, for making sure that you still have time for yourself so that you have a little bit of energy and everything, and that you can dedicate to your clients.
Okay. That's powerful. That tells me that this really isn't about chasing titles, but it's really about intention.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the transition, or was there a transition? What came before what? You're a registered nurse by training, a profession built on structure, responsibility, and care. At what point did you realize that nursing wasn't just your career, but could possibly become leverage? Were you an entrepreneur before nursing, or were you a nurse before an entrepreneur? And how does leverage, how did you factor leverage in all of it in terms of your foresight?
Well, I was a little bit of an entrepreneur before I became a nurse, but I've always worked, 2-3 jobs before. And so when I was in school to become a nurse, I had never just wanted to just be a nurse. That was never, ever on my radar. In fact, during nursing school, I was working 2-3 different jobs just to make sure that I had money to get through school. And, obviously the bills don't stop, right? But prior to even nursing school, I was doing, government contracting. And, there's other avenues I was going at the time, but there was nurse staffing in that. And, I had always wanted to be a nurse. I was actually on track to do that, but life happened. And things happened, and I had to kind of focus away from that for a little bit. So anyways, when I was in school, I always had that in the back of my mind. There's so many different opportunities for nurses, not just nurse staffing. You have home agency. I mean, there's just a slew of different things. And I always kept that in the back of my mind. Plus, my school was very adamant, and we had professors that were really good with telling us other areas that we could do as well. So when I had a plan, and I definitely had a plan, and I'm executing it now. And if a lot of people know me, they're all not surprised. They're all not surprised. That's just something. I'm usually never just doing one thing. I'm always looking at avenues and looking at other ways I can do within what I'm passionate about.
Always trying to find the angles,
Yeah.
the leverage. Okay, got you. That is very inspiring, because I think, for a lot of nurses listening right now that might be thinking, hey, I feel stuck, but I don't know what to do next. What can I do? What skills from nursing do you think most directly translates into entrepreneurship for you, and that would also work for them?
A lot of communication, and nurses in general, we do a lot of different things depending on even what area you are. You may be working different units, and even if you're working different units as a nurse, you can do, you can go 1099 and be a contractor. Another thing too is that, you sometimes you want to grow in nursing. There are other avenues, whether it's CRNA, nurse practitioner, owning your own business, whatever, but the communication, the thoughtfulness, just being on top of your game, all of those play into an aspect. A lot of nurses, who have talked to me, they are stuck. They don't know what to do. And a lot of times, I feel like it's not just being stuck, it's being scared maybe sometimes.
Yep.
And, it's just really encouraging people, you can do whatever you put your mind to, but you've got to do it. You got to pursue it.
Yep.
People talk so much like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, should I do this? Yeah, you can do it. You just got to put your, you got to put your foot in 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's one thing about, entrepreneurship does not, it has to be more than a thought.
Yeah.
It has to be more than a thought, has to be more than an idea, has to be about action and execution. You've heard me say that before.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, was there a moment, maybe quiet, maybe comfortable, where you realized, wow, I think this all can actually work?
I would have to say during school, obviously, is when I was, of course, thinking about everything. But when I graduated, the more, and another thing I will say, when I always think of doing something or going after something, I research. I'm always looking at different things. I'm always listening to different people's opinions. And I think definitely after I graduated and just kind of like started looking, because I had more time. You don't really have a lot of time during nursing school to really just be doing other stuff. But when I graduated, I was able to really research and really think and really listen to other people who have gone and done different things. Maybe not exactly what I'm doing or what I'm looking to do, but other things. And it was just like, hey, I can do this. I just have to really work hard and not doubt myself, but definitely, and it's crazy, you talk to people, you see certain things, and it's like, I can do it. I can do it. And like I said, I doubt myself sometimes too. That's just human aspect. But
every entrepreneur has doubted themselves at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. But you've got to do it. And so
do it scared if you have to, but do it.
Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, that's important. That moment actually, matters a great deal.
Yeah.
When you kind of start seeing that it can actually work, because it's that moment where, you overcome the fear because it becomes more curiosity.
Yeah.
And when curiosity kicks in, it spans your motivation to research.
Yes.
Research and information makes you become more comfortable in your quest. So, good job there. That's very important. Let's shift into one of the most misunderstood lanes in businesses, government contracting. How did that world even enter your life?
Well, how did it enter my life? I was introduced to it by someone in this room. But I think you were the one who said something about it. And then, I started exploring it. And it's crazy because, obviously I was a go-getter and was like, this is going to be easy. We can do this. It definitely was not easy. But it was worth it. It still is. But I was introduced to it, and I started once again researching different things, because once again, that's always been my focus when I am starting something new or whatever. What can be done better? Okay, this has been working for people. Should we do this? Should we not do it? Whatever. But I did end up landing our first contract.
Yep. It's a lot of hard work.
Yes.
So, but here's the thing that I always try to tell people, and for some reason, I mean, you didn't see it like that, but a lot of people that I've had conversations with, both past and present, even, most people hear government contracts,
Right.
and immediately they think it's too complex, too political,
Yeah.
or not accessible.
Right.
In your mind's eye, how did you simplify it to yourself?
Well, I think number one, the way how I was taught is you can really go after a lot of different things. You don't necessarily have to be the one who does that certain aspect of the job. Like, let's, for instance, you're going after a PR thing. You don't have to actually be, especially as an entrepreneur or CEO, you don't have to be the one who knows PR. But you may need to understand, or research a little bit of that. But you can go and speak with businesses and speak with other people who that's what they do and go after a contract. But not just that, the ones, when we won, I think it was event staffing, I knew that area because my background is in hospitality. So was it easy? No, but I knew enough about it to ask the right questions to the contracting officers. And even if you don't know, you speak with whoever, whatever you're going after, you speak whatever business or whatever person who knows that area very, very deeply, has been doing that for a long time. So you know what questions to ask. Because when you ask certain questions, they probably are like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about. What can we give this to them? Because that way it'll make it easier on us.
Yeah. In other words, what she's referring to is you don't have to be the primary operator of the function of the contract.
Correct.
You can find partners and you could subcontract those aspects of it.
Yes.
So if you're looking at, if an opportunity comes your way, you don't have to, I don't know anything about this. You can, look in your network, look outside of your network,
Absolutely.
and see where you can find someone who would be willing to partner with you
Right.
in order to execute that contract. All right?
Absolutely.
So if someone is listening right now, especially a professional with credentials, what's the biggest misconception that's keeping them from even exploring this space, you think?
I think once you said it very clearly, people think it's very complex and very complicated. And it's really as complicated as you let it be. It was not easy, of course, setting everything up in that way. But once again, I researched, and I found the information that I needed to do what I needed to do for the business to get it set up. Get the business name, get it set up, get it registered, get everything going on SAM.gov. And that's even a whole aspect in itself. But once again, you limit yourself. Really, I understand. I think people just they don't want to deal with maybe all the complex things that happen, but you have to go through those complex in order, because once you get going and after you've had some contracts going, it becomes easy. It's almost like you just it's like second nature to you. But in the beginning, it's going to be hard, just like anything. Anything is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
Gotcha.
But once you start doing it, it will come natural to you.
Yeah, and part of it that I have seen is people, there's a learning curve for them to kind of get used to the cadence, the rhythm, and the lingo.
Absolutely.
Of government contracting. And I think sometimes that can be intimidating. I certainly know that, a big help was, our guru, Miss Paula from GPI. Her programs are top notch, and they definitely kind of teach you everything from top to bottom, and kind of gets you in the groove of the lingo, the culture, everything. So that definitely, in my opinion, gives you a head start.
Definitely.
At GPI. So, if I was listening and I was interested, I would definitely look up GPI and Miss Paula and see.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
So that that definitely would be a big part. Now, we've talked about a lot of things there. We talked about how it, what happened with. We talked about nursing. We've talked about government contracting.
Yeah.
So, what I kind of wanted to talk about, right, is I think we talked about how it entered your world. So let's talk about what was the biggest. We're gonna kind of do like a quick rapid fire
Okay.
type thing, right?
Okay.
So what is the most surprising thing in government contract, you would say, that people find?
The most surprising, like in a good way, bad way? Or?
It could be any. Like, what's the biggest surprise about government contract?
The biggest surprise, there's avenues for everyone. But and it's not really a surprise. You really have to grow your business. You have to grow your business. You've got to be on the phone. You've got to communicate. Because you can partner with a lot of different businesses, but they don't know you. So it's the relationships that it's just it's just like having a regular business. It's just in the government space, you've got to talk to those businesses. You got to keep reminding them over and over and over and over, which means calling them,
right,
even if it takes it every single week or every single day or every other day. Because if you want to do business with them or you want to partner with them to go after a contract, they've got to trust you. You got to have that relationship. Otherwise, if they get the contract and you screw it up, that's on you, right? And you may not ever get another opportunity. So you really have to put in the work to do that. And, remember, you're not the only one in the government space. There are a lot of companies in the government space going for the same thing that you're going for. So what sets you apart? That's very, very important.
Okay. All right. Good answer. Most underrated advantage.
Underrated advantage. I would say
courage.
That's a huge one, is courage, actually. It is big. Courage, being able to pivot, that's very, very that's very, very important. And it really kind of depends on what you're going after. It really depends on what you're going after. Are you going after, like before what we said, you can partner with businesses to go after, but also if there's contracts where you're very capable because that's your background, that's something that sets you apart.
Right.
That's something that if you can handle that contract because that is your area of expertise, that will set you apart as well.
Makes sense. And what's one mistake you would warn people about early?
Oh. And there's so many, but just don't underbid your contract. Don't underbid. Don't overbid either, but make sure that you're right in the middle. I think sometimes businesses they really underbid because they just want the business. They just want to win the contracts. And I'm not saying, anything bad or whatever. Everyone's different. Every business is different. But when you do that, sometimes it can cause a lot of chaos and a lot of problems. Because if you underbid, that means you might have to come out of pocket, your own money. And then that can cause a lot of issues too.
Not only that, but you could be in big trouble with the government.
Yes, a lot of trouble. So don't do it.
You may never be able to get another contract again. Well, folks, hey, listen, that right there is the game most people never hear because no one tells professionals that there are billion-dollar opportunities hiding in plain sight. Okay, so at the Rogue Asset Podcast, we strive to give you the game, so you're getting more game. All right? So, Miss Kessia, let's talk ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Why real estate and why now?
Well, real estate I've been in for some years, and the funny thing is, way before I was a bartender, right? And as a bartender, one of the things that you are always doing is you're selling drinks, you're upselling drinks. That's how you make your money too. That's how you make your tips, right? And it's funny because I would meet people at the bar who did real estate. And it's funny because one of the things that people would always tell me is, you should do real estate. You should do real estate. I guess they saw it in my personality. I would always be upselling once again.
Right.
They're like, that's what I do. And so they would say, whenever you're willing to make the switch, here's my card. Now it's like, yeah, whatever. I ended up getting into it, but it's already something that I would do just in a different space. So it was something that was very interesting to me. It's something that I could handle. It's something that wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh my goodness.
Right,
This was
right.
just up my avenue. So that's why I got in. And it's actually funny because I got in during right before the pandemic, which that was another challenge thing.
Yeah, pandemic real estate was something else.
Yes.
All right, so we've established you already had income paths, you already had business lanes. So how does real estate fit into your long-term vision now?
Well, there's a lot of different aspects with real estate. Once again, as you've always said it too, and I agree, is that everyone's going to always need a roof over their head, right? So that's not going away anytime soon. But I can tell you, it like I said, it's something that fits with me. It's something that I actually enjoy doing. I love it when someone comes up and they're saying, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a house." It's like, well, great,
Right.
let's get you in a house. Another thing is too, I love looking because once again, this relates. I love researching. That's
Right.
like a big thing for me.
Right.
So I will go I can spend hours on the computer looking for clients and the house that they want. There's certain aspects, there's certain criteria that they want. So it's a passion of mine. It's not something that is just like work. Where it does kind of have work is, there's certain things that you have to deal with when you're negotiating and going back and forth. Yes, but it's something that's dear to me, and it's something that's a passion of mine. So
Sounds good. Sounds good. So if income is temporary, what does real estate give you that business alone doesn't?
Satisfaction. Like I said, it's a passion of mine. It's something. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's not something that I get every single month. It might be every other month. It might be, sometimes a couple times a year. But it's satisfaction that I have and passionate for helping people.
Right.
And that's something that I will always, always foster. It always resonates with me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, okay. So great.
And it's not going away anytime soon because, even when I was in nursing school, I did help, what I'm saying? A couple people still buy homes. So.
Yeah. The distinction between income and infrastructure too is everything.
Yeah.
So, man, you wear a lot of hats. Some people fear that they worry about being seen as unfocused or doing too much. How do you manage identity when your life doesn't fit into one box? And that's something that I've always dealt with. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is kind of hard because, people kind of be like, oh, you do like a lot of different things. Like, are you, what's the saying that people say?
They like they used to. They used to be like jack of trades, master of none. But I think time and society has proven that to be untrue.
Yeah, it's very untrue.
Because I do a lot of things, and I dare you to test me. I'm a master of all of them.
And that is honestly true. It's the time and effort that you spend for each one. My areas, just the entrepreneur, the nursing, the hospitality, the government contracting. they all pull from very similar areas. It's not
skill sets.
Yeah, skill sets.
Skill
It's
sets
not
and experience.
Exactly. It's not opposite. I mean, you're pulling from all of them and putting them into one pretty much. So you can tell me, jack of all, whatever. No, there's just no way. I mean, I master my craft as much as I can, and I research. So like I said, sometimes it is hard. People say, how do you do whatever? I don't know. I just can't. I've been doing it for a while, though. It's not something that's just very new,
Okay. So what would you say to the professional who's afraid to step outside of their lane of what they're known for?
Just do it. Do whatever you can. It's going to be hard in the beginning. It was hard for me in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. Another thing is sometimes I feel like we think people judge us so much. We always are like, people are watching, whatever. We have to be uptight. So what?
So what?
Yes.
So what?
Step out of your comfort zone, because I promise you, when you do, there's so much money to be made. Can you imagine just staying in your lane and not doing anything, and then you're
Not only that, I've been doing this for so long that people are going to say whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you're successful at it, then they're going to act like they never had negative to say to begin with. So it's...
And you remember.
I'm with you on that. You remember. Just do it.
Always remember. Just
do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to end this section with a sentence. I want you to finish this for me. I'm building all of this because...
I'm building all this because I have a passion. It's something that, I've wanted to do. It's something I'm doing now. I want to build, wealth for myself, for my family. Also because why not? Right? Why not?
Well, thank you for that. Listen, before we close, what is one move you believe professionals should make in the next 12 months if they want real control over their future?
Start that business or market yourself. Either way, do something. Don't just sit there and keep thinking and dreaming. Make it happen.
Oh, man, she just dropped 2 gems on your head right there. Kept it simple and straightforward. Wow. Okay, this episode is proof that your credentials don't define you. Your courage does. Yeah. Kessia Leonhard, thank you for the work you're doing and for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you.
To everyone listening, if this conversation spoke to you, don't just be inspired. Be intentional. Just do it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
It's the Rogue Asset Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We're out.